Could you go to the end of that line?
Which one?
39, the one you're on.
Oh, there you go.
So why do we use school._ID here, but then on 41 we use student.plain_old ID?
That's a good question. So remember, these queries and these Mongoose operations return Mongoose objects. And part of that, there's this thing called virtualization that you're going to be working on soon. And virtualization is basically, it's a field that doesn't exist in a database, but gets created at runtime. And by default, there is an _ID that's saved in a database. But that's kind of annoying to do _ID all the time. So Mongoose virtualized a field called ID that represents the same thing as _ID. But that's only if you use the Mongoose objects. If you were to convert that to JSON or object, by default, you won't have .id. So just to be explicit and to avoid errors, it can be safe to just use _ID until you understand virtuals and how to keep those consistent.
So if you add another student to the school.
Yes, so if I add another student to the school or create another student that has reference to the school, so we can say const student 2, and I'm just going to copy that, change the name. And it's got the same school. All right, so I'm going to do that. And then, actually, I got to change these two because they'll just break again.
Or could it do just create or find or something like that?
Create or this one. Oh, you mean this one? You like if I change this to create or, are you talking about for the school or for the student?
Yeah, for the school.
Oh, for the school. Oh, you mean like, so if it's already there, don't do it? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, you could do that. So I do create. Actually, no, you have to create that. I think they got rid of that. I'm almost positive they got rid of that. Hold on. Yeah, I think you might be referring to find one and update with upsert true, whereas like it finds it. If it does find it, it'll return it. If it doesn't see it, I can put upsert true, which will create it. I think that might be the one you might be referring to. So yeah, if we do that, that's basically this. So instead of doing create, but it would have to be there unless I do upsert. So it'll be school.find one. And then I could say MLK elementary, and then find one and update. So I have to do that, but if it's not there, then I have to put the same object in there that's for the find. Like that, just in case it's not there. And then I can say upsert true, which will create it if it's not there. And then just to make sure I get the new one back, new true. Avoid that. So that's saying find it. If it is there, return it. If it's not, if it is there, update it. If it's not there, create it from scratch with this second object. So whatever this second object is, the update object, that's what I want you to create it from. So that's how you would avoid that error. Any other questions?
Do we have exec at the end of 38 or not? Do I not need that?
If there's a find, you definitely want to put an exec. I haven't been using exec on any of these. I haven't been explicit because I'm not doing anything with them. But yeah, always getting a good habit of doing .exec on them. Like I said, you probably won't run into issues with them. But if you use a library that's like very strict with promises and they're expecting like a promise spec promise, then you're going to run into a problem. But if you're just using something using like .then, you're probably never going to run into a problem. But there are promise libraries out there that are like to the spec. And if the spec ever evolves to something else other than just .then these would all break.
So upsert either updates or creates it.
Yeah, so upsert means if you don't find a matching document with this query, then create a new document with this update. That's what upsert does.
What does new true do?
New true, what it does is, by default, if you update a document, it's not going to return the new document that was just updated. It's going to return the document before it was updated, which is unexpected behavior. I don't know why it would ever do that. So you have to pass new true to say, give me the document after you updated it, so I have the new properties versus the document before you updated it. The only other stuff I want to show you that's going to be helpful for your exercise is walking through some more slightly complicated queries. So we already talked about populate, but there's some other stuff that we can do in here. For instance, if we have these students, and I have a student whose first name is Trisha, then what I can do is instead of like, say, find by ID, let's say I just say find one. Now I can pass in an object, and I can say first name the same as Trisha. And that one might be obvious. That one might be pretty obvious that obviously you want to do a name match here with fields. But there's a lot more stuff you can do in here. And it's pretty optional how you want to do them. So it really depends if you want to run a Mongoose query, which is methods that are chainable, or if you just want to pass like filters as properties here. So you can kind of go both ways of how you want to do it.